We are back with a Fox News alert. British police arrest an 18-year-old in connection with the terror attack on a packed London train during rush hour. This as ISIS has claimed responsibility for the explosion that injured more than 24 people. So how do we prevent these kind of attacks on our homeland? Let's ask former CIA station chief who served in Moscow, Iraq, and Pakistan, Daniel Hoffman. Daniel, thanks for joining us this morning. So first of all, what do you make of ISIS's claim of responsibility and this arrest in this development?
Well, I would first highlight that, there are a lot more unknowns than knowns in this case. Right now, British Scotland Yard and the intelligence community there is mounting a full-court press to collect as much information as they can. Was this a lone wolf attack? Was there some sort of a network behind this 18-year-old? There really are lots of questions to be answered. We do know at least preliminary forensics indicate the IED was not very sophisticated, and what that might mean is that there wasn't much additional support that was required. It might have obviated the need for a bomb maker, which was so typical in al-Qaeda operations.
Sure. Daniel, this is the 5th terror attack in the UK just this year. Describe to our viewers the depth of the problem they're facing right now.
Well, I think they are facing a significant problem inside the UK, but we are globally facing a significant problem. One lesson from 9/11 was not to allow radical extremists and terrorists to enjoy ungoverned geographic space, to plot and plan against us. And even though we've done what we could to prevent that, although not very effectively in Syria in the previous administration, today terrorists enjoy ungoverned cyberspace in which to communicate and plan. And I think that's one thing that the British will be looking at in this case, is the extent to which this individual might have been radicalized. It's very hard to track people that way when they're communicating and planning in cyberspace.
Daniel, I got to ask you about that, because my first response, Theresa May's response, was that I was underwhelmed. I felt like, okay, so we're going to go to war with cyberspace. I get it, that's a tool, but it's a tool used by radical Islamic terrorists. How do you get at both the tool but also the source that is this ideology that seems to be spreading?
Well, I think that the ideology is feeding off of certainly off of failed states. There are plenty of those, South Asia and the Middle East, and it's gaining quite a bit of traction, and individuals even in the West are finding some adherence to what is radicalizing others in those parts of the world. Certainly we need to deal with that ideological challenge, but it does put a premium on being able to collect intelligence in cyberspace and marry that up with all the other intelligence we obtain to produce really effective all-source tactical intelligence to prevent further attacks like this. I'm sure we're working closely with our British counterparts to ensure that there isn't any sort of a nexus to the United States in this case.
Daniel, and very briefly, are you confident that our authorities are on top of plots like this here in the States?
Yeah, absolutely. I think our state and local law enforcement, coupled with our intelligence community, does an outstanding job of collecting the intelligence and taking action where appropriate to keep us safe.
Well, let's hope so. Daniel Hoffman, thanks for your expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.